this is my response to the Graff article. Um, I think the people that he is targeting in this article in general would be society. Um, just trying to inform people and make them more intelligent in the regard that just because a kid may not have the best GPA does not mean that that kid is still not well rounded or couldn't be well respected. Um, More specifically, I think he is trying to target the schooling system and just kind of get the point across that what they're doing isn't very efficient and that it could be done in a better way if you do link the kids' interests with schooling, even though it may not be uh, like one of the classics, like he said, like Shakespeare or Plato, but even mixing in some of their own interests could make them more literate, could make them more well-rounded, more intelligent. They'd be able to hold up a conversation even better. And I think is the big point of him creating this article was it's okay to not just be book smart. Kids who do struggle in school but don't struggle at all outside of the classroom and are set up for what they would like to do later on in life and have these people skills that some of these kids that sit at home and do their homework all day are really missing out on. Uh, that's just huge. And then he does that by giving his own real life experiences and what he's gone through and now where he's at being a college professor. Um, and he talks about giving kids magazines instead of classic novels, just so they are reading something, they are getting engaged, and they are becoming better readers because of it. Um, what stood out to me about this article was that he himself is a college professor, and I think from his perspective, that makes his credibility that much higher because he is within the world of schooling and he has seen firsthand what is happening with it, and even himself doesn't believe, and I believe that he's just trying to make a change. Um, how this goes beyond the classroom, uh, I think it shows all of us that not necessarily looking at just the kids' grades, but you could be looking at, a kid's work ethic may not always be shown by grades. Um, his intelligence and his respect outside of the classroom. Um, it's tough to be able to look at a kid and judge them just off a few numbers of how they performed within schooling and not really looking at the full picture and if they have people skills or not. Um, do I agree with what he's trying to get across? I said yes and no. More so yes, in the respect that street smarts does overrule book smarts because school ends for everybody eventually. And once you get done with that, you have to be able to interact with people depending on what you're doing. But for most, you do have to be able to interact with people. You have to be able to come off professional. And some kids won't be able to do that because that's all they have is those book smarts. But then the reason why I said no on the other side was there are still athletes who are illiterate. He talked about athletes a lot, and I believe if sports is the only thing you have, then sports ends for everybody too one day, and that's tough going from having only those street smarts to then performing in the real world. So that was my response to the Graff article, and hope you all enjoyed.